Welcome to The Perfect Balance, where this is the podcast where we discover your symptoms are not the problem, with your hosts, Eva Vennari, Dr. Heather Kneale, and Leslie Brown. Join us as we jump right into this episode. My name is Eva Vennari, founder of the Elevate Institute. I help reverse burnout.
And I'm Heather Kneale. I am CEO and founder of Global Nutritional Healing. And we offer mineral balancing programs, certificate programs for people that want to take the courses.
And I'm Leslie Brown, a creator of the Stress Relief System, where we work with high-achieving men to help them effectively manage stress so that they can improve and sustain their performance at high levels of performance at work and at home.
We can tell it's a Friday afternoon, can't we?
I can. Sorry about that. Yeah.
Making us think.
Yeah,
we want to just get to the meat and potatoes, right? Come on.
Where's the drink? I want my wine. No. Today we're talking about our experience. I mean, we've been going over, the three of us, all the different topics that we could talk about. But every time it like lights up a little. Oh, I remember a time when I was getting rid of that. So let's just see what we can do as far as sharing our experiences and what a person who starts on a program might experience and what that looks like as they go through it.
When you get started, well, everybody starts a little differently. I know for me, it was, I just started pretty slow actually on the program. But what I noticed is I already felt bad. I felt horrible because I was already so sick. But then I felt like I still felt I was getting new symptoms and other things were creeping up. And I knew because of healing reactions and people had been talking about it, that it was normal and it was a good sign of healing. So that was pretty much, I started just going with it. I had family members telling me, you can't do this. You're worse. You look worse. You're acting worse. You're, this and that. You got to go back into the doctor. And I'm like, I get the same thing over and over again, and it's not helping me. It's not that they're not great in what they do. It's just that I was a case at that point that they didn't know what to do for me. So, so that was what happened with me. But that was my experience. Is I just got slowly on the program, and I had some symptoms that came up that were kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And went away.
Feels crazy. I'm trying to think, but I got started. It was kind of the same way. That was an important point you brought up, Heather, because it's not necessarily what we were on was really so terrible. I'm sure it works for certain circumstances, but I've been in treatment for Lyme disease for decades, and the protocol that they say the treatment was successful, but the patient died. And I was on my way out off planet in 2014 and thought, well, let's try something else. And that's the important point, is that there are other options. And this is one that's said before saved our lives. And I tried it within 3 months, things started to turn around. Not only for me, but my husband had been diagnosed with Crohn's disease and told that there was just no other hope that they had to offer in the medical system. Again, not that the medical system was wrong. It's just they don't happen to be trained in the same way that we're trained. They're not educated in this manner. They've got one way of looking at the body, and this offers another, what I think is a broader spectrum of it. But same thing. So I'd been in bed most of 2014, and then I was in bed again the first 3 months I was on the program, sleeping. But what sleeping feeling as if you really are dying is a whole lot different than sleeping when you can tell your body's in a state of rest and repair. Oh my gosh, the feeling is so different. And gazillion symptoms. I probably reported over 100 different symptoms that I'd had. Skin eruptions on the body as bad stuff was getting pushed out, and my body was getting freed up again.
Yeah, we go through some interesting things, and we are all mentioning the program, and I want to give it a real quick, what is it?
Good.
It's mineral nutritional balancing. It's we're rebalancing at a core level of the stardust we're supposed to be made up of. It's all of the minerals that our body says, yes, I know what to do with this. And it's about taking the right minerals based on your hair analysis, getting enough sleep, resting between your appointments and not pushing yourself throughout the day and to kill yourself to do things. And getting sleep and drinking enough water. That's the program. It's really that simple. And so you have to put a lot of faith into that, because you're not taking medications necessarily. You're not hunting down specific symptoms, because why? Your symptoms are not the problem. And we're changing the whole interior, the environment in which your body works, everything. We're taking it from like swampy, crappy place to a cute little meadow where there's a deer and a babbling brook and the butterfly over. Like, that's the difference, right? So when we say on the program, we mean we're getting it from one place to a new place. And it's a little bit of a faith journey. But when you start to have a little bit of success, and this is what happened for me, I got a little bit of success with, and you do realize that there's a difference between I'm feeling worse and, oh, this is a healing. This is a healing reaction that's leading to a healing. And you can feel the difference because it stays. Once something is done, it's done and gone forever, and the body moves on to what's next thing it wants to heal. And it's quite amazing. And for me, one of the very first things it wanted to heal, not the first, but one of the first, was my copper stuck in my skin. And so somewhere I read, I was convinced I should get a sauna. So I had my dad make a sauna for me, a near infrared sauna. And I started using it on faith, 30 minutes in the morning when I first woke up and 30 minutes at night before going to bed. I had insomnia, and so that could help rest me. But in the morning, it helped detox me. So you're riding that wave of detox in the morning. And about 3 months in, I have suffered itching, just chronic, like itching to the point of bleeding and having skin under my nails when I woke up in the morning, and like, all kinds of, that's gross, right? But you scratch yourself so hard when you have copper stuck in your body and you're copper toxic. And from the age of 6, the doctors would say something like, oh, just put lotion on your skin.
Right.
That's not the answer.
Right. Or steroid cream, or, I mean, yes, it's chasing the symptoms of it,
Exactly.
Root cause, right?
Right. So I started using the sauna every morning and every night, like clockwork. And I just had faith. If I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it right. I'm going to do the sauna thing, and taking my supplements. I'm on the program. And 3 months into doing that every day, I started to itch more at a higher severity than I had my whole life. And I'm going, oh, what is this? This is nasty. Should I And I had that little intuition that says, don't stop the sauna. Just keep at it. And it was the copper that was trapped in the dermis layers of the skin coming out. I didn't know that at the time necessarily, but the little intuition said, just keep going. And 3 months of that, holding myself back from scratching more than I ever had before. One day I woke up, no more itchy.
Right. And that's exactly how it happens, is that we go through these patches. We're increasing your energy with the mineral balancing program. That's really what it's called, the science of human energy. And so when you improve your energy, that means that your body can now start detoxing these metals and chemicals and whatever else is in there. You want them out, because if you get them out of your body, then you don't get the chronic problems that can come later from these things. So having a little bit of discomfort, and I know Eva had some discomfort there.
Makes me itch thinking about it when you said it. Oh.
Well, the first thing that goes through, I know for a lot of my clients' minds, is they want to quit. They have something that happens and they're like, wait a minute, I came to you because I'm trying to get rid of this, and this, and this one's better, but this got worse. Well, that can happen temporarily, whatever it is, because your body is cleaning house. It's like a clogged toilet. Now you're, trying to, force it to, clean up, but we're doing it more gently, but things are coming out.
That imagery, I think is real helpful. Even thinking like a clogged toilet, or if you can get a picture in your mind of what's actually happening, because most people, we don't really, as a population, we have no clue how sick we are. I mean, we don't have a real awareness of how toxic our bodies have become and how much we've acclimated. And during the healing process, I thought I wanted to emphasize what Eva said on the rest. Then as a culture, we don't value rest, at least here in the West, right? We don't value rest, but that's when the body's resting and repairing and rebuilding those broken systems, rebuilding the energy so that you've got enough energy to push all this stuff out, and then live, have the opportunity to live out your life purpose, because there isn't all this stuff that's gotten in the way or holding you back. It's pretty incredible.
Oh, it is. It isn't. I mean, the thinking for me, I couldn't believe how much clearer I thought. I was asked to start teaching practitioners and doctors and I thought, I'm like the sticky note queen. I had sticky notes on my refrigerator, sticky notes on my mirror, do this, do that, sticky notes. I started having sticky notes all over my computer. What's the NAK? That's, things on the hair testing, and, to tell people, because my brain, I'm smart, but it was like, gucked up with maybe mercury and copper or whatever else was in there, So
Yeah.
when it started coming out, I started noticing, I'm like, why am I thinking so clearly? I'm getting things done very efficiently. And there's a tendency to want to go back to your type A craziness. You have to be careful. That's, we're all type A women here, I think. So we have to work on, and I've worked on it, not so much anymore, so resting, like both of you were saying, resting, my family, we were called lazy. If we sat
Right.
around for 5 minutes, you are lazy. It's like, what? So keeping myself constantly busy was how I learned to grow up. So
Yeah, me too. I remember my dad saying something like, idle hands is devil's work or something like that. But the thing is, when our nervous system is overwhelmed with toxic metals, pesticides, not to mention, relationship stresses, imbalances of nutrient minerals inside the body, making us hormonally off. When we talked about mercury in the last one, it's like there's all of these things that are already testing our threshold of our ability to overcome. And so that momentum gets built kind of like if you push a little tiny snowball off the top of a mountain with snow on it, it's going to get bigger and bigger over time, unless there's something that puts a stop to that snowball somewhere along the way. Well, if you don't put a stop to the snowball during the day, metaphorically speaking, when you get to the end of your day, you won't know how to slow down to go to sleep. The body just gets used to it. And that's what I discovered as I had what we call on one of the patterns sympathetic dominance. And it was a state of being where this state of being where I thought people were crazy for getting massages. I'm like, what is this? A waste of money, man. It doesn't feel good during, after, nothing. I'm like, I was looking forward to it. All this gossip about massages. And it wasn't until my sympathetic dominance went away on the test and I was able to receive the massage, and I went, oh, this feels pretty good. And at first, because sympathetic dominance just doesn't go away like that. It doesn't go, no, it goes in waves, right? And so you feel better, and then a little bit like, oh, this is back again, and then it goes back and then back again. And so, but the period of time where it's back again gets shorter and shorter and farther and fewer between. And that's kind of the whole pattern of how everything seems to go away, at least in my world. And I noticed that the effectiveness of chiropractic adjustments, of massage therapy, any of those things that was body work, the effectiveness would be longer as my sympathetic dominance became less severe. Yeah, everybody's yes.
yeah, that makes exactly, because those are more parasympathetic for the body, and it's harder for us to detox when you're sympathetic, because you detox in the parasympathetic state. Your sympathetic is that emergency state. It's like that, just that snowball she was talking about. It's big.
It can be.
Frozen.
Yes, definitely.
I was thinking of when you said your ability to receive the massage. That's something else that was very intriguing to be able to live through, because you can also you pick up other people's emotions or sensitivity about how other people operate. And I don't want this to sound trite, but it's like the capacity to love and accept people for who they are and where they are, instead of defending our own position, that kind of thing becomes so much greater. And just an ability to move with a whole lot of different kinds of people and appreciate who they are, because that shell is gone. The all the stuff that makes you feel like stone. I mean, I remember that my shoulders were so tight, they were literally like stone, and I could just feel everything relax afterwards. And a lot of you can't appreciate a massage and what the masseuse is trying to do to with you and your body. You can't do it because you can't let go. You're just stuck, right? But so many things in life get so much more enjoyable.
Yeah,
very true.
Yeah, it's this really strange thing that happens. I mean, sympathetic dominance is probably one of the, besides copper toxicity, is one of the biggest things I talk about with my clientele. And the type A personality tends to go with it, but it's that feeling of, I can't just sit and watch TV. I've got to have the magazine in front of me or a book in front of me as well. And oh, by the way, let me make my list of things to do for tomorrow. And then as you lay your head down to sleep, to go to bed at night, you're thinking of all of the mind whirs, right? Oh, I can't put that down. Even if you write down a list, this is what's in my head. Let me write that down and get it out of my head. Oh no, it's still there. It's keeping you up at night. These are the things that happen when you have sympathetic dominance, and it's not your brain.
How you live your life, exactly.
Yeah.
It's a habit. Partially, it's a habit. There are metals that can keep you in that, and keep you, like copper and mercury, and there's a few others that can keep you, but you've learned it. It's definitely a habit.
It's a habit, but you can unlearn it. And so half of it is to correct the imbalance that's creating the environment that we talked about in the last, but it's also about, retraining your brain. And I find that's a big portion of the program, is once we get people to the place of we're now stable and on the supplements, and we're looking at what we put into our mouths it actually matters. And then water, getting the rest. It's like, oh yeah, now we have to work on our mental state and how we respond to things and reframing. I find that's a big portion of the program, is to getting past the physical, that we forget the symptoms now because they're gone. Okay, what else? Oh, look at that. There's a whole family in front of me that I should probably interact with. I've got a spouse I should probably say hello to.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. I remember just pushing so hard. I think we get, when we don't realize how toxic we are and what's going on, the habit becomes to push. If you're achievement oriented, right? You just push no matter what, and then you still can't get enough done. So it pushes you way into the late night hours, and it pushes your brain into overdrive, and you just can't shut it off. But then the balance starts to come, and you go, oh, I value rest and relaxation because I'm going to feel better. Look how much more I'm getting done during a day. Because I can tell you, I even read a lot. I have a lot more in my days than what I used to, but I also have a deliberate focus, attention to be able to go out, walk outside, breathe real air, go laugh with friends. It's really intentional, which may be type A also, to put that on my to-do list.
You can't break it all, right? There's still something,
There's still something in there, which I think's fine. We're the movers and shakers, so I'm not knocking that, but it is a definite, you learn how to push through when you don't feel well, and you don't realize you don't feel well, but you also learn how to be healthy. And there's a learning that goes with that I find to be very exciting and interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I do too. Because a lot of times when you're releasing toxic metals, or at least I've noticed this, is I'm releasing also a wound from childhood, or like shame, or like guilt. Yep, there it is. Yeah, we release those things, and what happens is our body is no longer in alignment with how we used to respond. It's actually quite beautiful. This is something that's been in conversation amongst a lot of my clients and colleagues lately, is this recataloging of how you would answer those situations today that make them just simply, they're gone now.
Not even situations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, oh, I wouldn't respond today that way. I would respond this way. I'd have this really snappy remark that is also honoring of myself and respectful of the other person, but it would be enough. And that makes my brain go, I no longer need to worry about this. And then the guilt is gone, or then the shame is gone, or whatever. And it's really lovely. But it's the state of our mineral, like what we're made of. It keeps that stuff locked in there, just like that locks in the stress in our shoulders, right? What else is locked in there?
Right. Just like we have patterns on the hair test, we have patterns in our body that are stuck. And like you two are saying, I'm really glad you brought up the emotional part, because there is a huge emotional, that's a whole nother talk we need to have, the emotions, because you know, when people hear, oh, hair testing and mineral balance, they're like, well, I have anxiety or I have this mental thing that's not going to help. Well, yeah, it will. We've helped a lot of people. I have a gentleman that, and he couldn't even leave his house. He was so anxious, and talking on the phone, he would just be so, you know, upset all the time, and you know, just and everything bothered him and everybody bothered him and everything was an issue. It's just like, you know, it was just like constant. And, you know, this last time I talked to him on the phone, he's been on the program, the mineral balancing program, for about 4 years now. And I just got off the phone with him. It was about last week. And he's calm, he's mellow. He said, hey, somebody stole my jacket, my favorite jacket. And, you know, I was like, I hope they're enjoying it. So this is coming from someone. I mean, look at the shift though. The shift went from just not liking, I mean, just, you know, everything irritating him to just be, he's just, well, now he's enjoying his life. So now we can just go over to his house and take whatever we want. No,
Just like anywhere in California, you can do that in all the shops now.
Yeah, that's
right. But I mean, it was like his favorite jacket. And he just said he left it and went back. It was gone. And he just, I hope that was his response. So, you know, when we feel better and we're healthier, those are responses we should have, better responses.
That reminds me of that phrase. They say, don't sweat the small stuff. It's all small stuff, right? But you start to live that way. And that's a whole different life.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, people notice the change. I think Dr. Paul Eck, you know, he's if you don't know the name, our viewers, he's the man who invented this whole process of mineral balancing, and he was a chemist researcher. And so the personality he noted in himself changed from being I want to avoid people and I'm going to work at night and they bug me, and he went from that to being a more social, more personable person who enjoyed the company of others, and it changed his whole perspective and his whole personality. It can change your personality. That's crazy.
Exactly. So the person that you've always wanted to be, that's in there, you can be that person.
It just gets covered up with this other stuff that we know how to help get rid of.
Exactly. Yeah. I like the swamp. I like the swamp analogy that Eva used. I don't know if it was this talk or the last, but that really, you know, I love it.
That's my favorite one. I'm like, let's talk about what's really going on in your body. Stop talking about the candida that you have. It's not the problem. It is not the problem. That's just the moss in the swamp. You can get into your little boat and cut out all the little moss. And when you're done, you cannot go, oh, now I'm no longer a swamp. No, you're still a swamp. You're going to grow it back again. And that seems to be a clear message. It's like, that's what we're trying to do. We are changing the body from the inside. And we've all been different people. I think we've all said that individually. We're different, different.
Exactly.
Definitely. And these things start to happen so innocently, because copper's been brought up a couple of times too, but you know, they'll use you think you're eating healthy because you're eating organic, and not realizing they use the organic spray of copper fungicide. Copper's great at helping to get rid of fungus, but it can be toxic to the body, and you just ingest all this. You don't even realize you think you're doing all the right things, and you don't know the impact, which is what I love about the testing that we do, is you can really see what happens with the actions we take. You can see it. They're right there. I think of them as our key performance indicators, our KPIs on our bodies, right? You know what's going on.
Oh, and you also go from this place of, I meet a lot of people who are spiritually only living from here, like their shoulders up, like the rest of their soul. I don't know how crazy either one of you are, but I've got that little woo, I can see auric fields and stuff. And so when I tune into people, I can see they're not in their body. You've probably heard that statement, even if you're not in the woo cycle of the world. But it's like, if you're not in your body, if you're not feeling your body, well, why would you want to be in your body if it's in pain?
Exactly.
But
stay out of it, you know. We do that. Yeah.
So when I got out of pain, I realized, oh, I can actually feel my body again. I can feel where I'm stiff, and I can listen to it and not immediately reach for the pain reliever or immediately reach for whatever my solution was before, because I know I'm going through something. It's like, okay, what do you need to listen to? So you listen to your body. I listen to my body in a much different way than I did before. I would ignore it mostly.
Right. Or you just
You know
are
what?
like me, I had a calcium shell, which means a very high calcium on your hair chart. And one of the qualities of that is lack of awareness. So I probably was one of those people that lived from the neck up.
Oh, I was, yeah.
Me too. Ditto, ditto, ditto. Yeah, and I think oh, I was losing my thought there just a second. Not being able to live in the body, again, we just don't realize it, and we don't know how to interpret any symptoms that our body gives us. So it's a whole nother learning again, is how our body really is talking to us. And we say the symptoms aren't the problem, in a way they're a very important part of the conversation. But they're trying to tell you that there's something that's triggering them, and that's what we need to find out about.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a whole new way of parenting that people are realizing makes more sense for the community of humanity at large, and that's that children are meant to be seen and heard. And the same thing is true for our bodies. It's meant to be seen and heard. We should listen to it. We're the only ones listening, and we're the only ones living, rather, in this body inside the shell of skin that we own. And nobody else can tell us what we're experiencing is true or false. We just have to know to listen to it and believe that if there's something that's being said, we should listen to it. And I think that was the biggest lesson I had to learn, was to stop, because I fired 10 doctors one after another. I'm like, oh no, there's something is wrong. You gotta help me figure it out. and they wanted to doubt me. They wanted to put doubt into what I was experiencing. Oh no, it's all in your head, which is the biggest disrespect I have ever experienced. And I will not tolerate disrespect now. Forget that.
Well, and yeah, and it's hard for them because they don't really know, it's a whole different, that's what's the beauty of what we have. We have different places we can go and learn about our bodies, and I always think of medical as more of, you've tried a lot of things, or or maybe you're worried about something, go, you can go get it checked out, go, no problem. But, to go there for other things like nutrition or, metals, or you're going to the wrong place.
Right.
That's the answer, really.
My anecdote that I was sharing before we got started, or before we were kind of talking before we went live, was that my husband recently had knee replacement surgery, and he went back to the hospital where he'd been treated years before and done multiple surgeries, multiple medications, multiple infusions for all sorts of stuff. And they looked at his chart and they go, "You're not on any medication? What happened? You look so healthy. What happened?" And then after the surgery, the doctor said, "Whoa, it was 4 hours shorter than what they'd anticipated." They said, "Your bones are so strong. What is up with that?" Because a lot of people have soft bones. They have to pack them with glue to be able to make these knee replacements work. So it was very interesting. And as I'd also mentioned, they mentioned it, the nurses came right out to talk to me and say, "We need to talk to you about your business. What's causing this amazing change?" But they literally could see it there in black and white. And for decades, they've been dealing with people who are so sick, which the sad statement is, to see somebody in good health was so unusual that they wanted to find out how that happened. And part of what's really in the hearts of the three of us and our colleagues is that we want that to be the norm. That people are so healthy, and it to be unusual that somebody comes in with really soft bones and who can't get well and who feels like they're going crazy. We'd like to see those numbers reversed, but it was quite startling. Again, black and white right there. And we worked several years on getting health back again, and it showed up.
Back to the minerals again.
Was absolutely.
It's a formula. It's not just taking a bunch of random minerals and hoping that you get them all in. That's not how it works. Or chasing ones that are high don't take the ones that are high and just take all the ones that are low. That doesn't work either.
Yeah. If you can get your hair tested, but if you decide that you're the instant mineral practitioner without a certification or any experience, then you're going to guess wrong.
Right. Right.
And Eva had a bad experience with that, didn't she, Eva? Didn't they try and do that? Didn't somebody who didn't know what they were doing with hair tissue analysis?
That was me too.
Yeah.
You too?
And it was he was a doctor. He was from here in California. I'm pretty sure he's long gone now, but he says, "Oh yeah, I can do a hair mineral test on you." And that was back in 2003. I think that was the first one I'd had. and he incorrectly saw, oh, manganese is really low on your test, which actually means you're saturated in it, you're toxic. And he goes, we just need to give you more of that and you'll be fine. And it screwed me up. It made me worse. It's like giving somebody just zinc. Never take just zinc, ever, 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 ever. I can't say that enough. Don't do it.
And that's a very common one to do it with, by the way.
There is now.
Zinc.
And
Yeah.
then copper, they do zinc and copper, don't
Oh,
really.
yeah.
Well, Eva, you say that too, right? What do you say? That they work in relationship with each other? I think
Yeah.
of it as whack-a-mole. You take one and the others go out, but you talk
Right.
about them working in tandem. It's like a dance, and you really need the training to understand the science behind it. But Heather, you also had that? You had the same kind of
Yeah,
thing?
exact same thing. I went to a naturopathic doctor and she did a hair test, and I'm very inquisitive. I wanted to know, why is the calcium high? Why is the magnesium? Oh, you don't need to know that. What? What do you mean I don't need to know that? And then it was just tons of herbs and nothing that had anything to do with the hair testing, not of how it was created by Dr. Pollack. So, there is a science and it works. And that's why we're here today.
Yeah. So we are wrapping up our 30 minutes here. Any famous last words we want to make?
No.
No pressure.
No, I think we
Just
really
thanks
gave
for
a lot of
listening, and
stories.
be sure and let us know your questions too. If you have specific questions you'd like to hear our perspective on, we'd be really glad to share it.
Yeah, questions specifically. If you've heard any of our stories and you're thinking, oh, this is very similar to mine, but not exactly the same. Can this help my problem? Go ahead and put that problem below if you feel like it, or if you want to not be public about it, you can reach out to any one of us. We'll have our links in the description below. But I think this is it for now. We're going to wrap up. This has been The Perfect Balance, where we discuss your symptoms are not the problem. My name is Eva Vennari, founder of the Elevate Institute, where I help you get in more touch with your essential love for healing.
And I'm Heather Kneale. I am co-founder and CEO of Global Nutritional Healing. We have certificates in mineral balancing science.
And Leslie Brown, founder and CEO of the Mineral Balancing Group.
And that's it for us right now. We'll see you next time.
Bye.